We have a quorum.
Miraculous. I presume you'll do the pledge then?
Yes.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. All right, now I'm looking for an approval for this agenda.
Any changes or anything? Is it?
Martha, are there changes since we don't have the site visit listed on this?
I believe the site visit is going to be considered part of the HPC 2014-17, the Certificate of Appropriateness.
Okay, all right, I just didn't know if you needed to mention it.
Move to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay.
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas moved to approve it, and Commissioner Palacios seconded it. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Approval of the minutes of the Historic Preservation Commission, May 14, 2014. Have you had a chance to look at those, you guys?
Not quite, but
Who am I this time?
it's too overwhelming, so I move to approve.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Lucas and a second from Commissioner Palacios. Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Carries unanimously, just like we always do.
Such harmony.
Usually do, especially lately. Okay, Citizens Forum. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak at this time to the commission? No? Seeing that there are none, we're going to move on from that to number 7, matters from staff regarding HPC 2014-17, Certificate of Appropriateness for demolition of building at 209 Ranchitos Road. Martha.
Okay, this is a request for a certificate of appropriateness for the demolition of a building at 209 Ranchitos Road. It was the old TV, the old Montoya TV radio building, however you know it as. This case came before the Historic Preservation several months ago. The idea was that they were going to preserve over 50% of the building, and the commission approved that certificate of appropriateness. When they actually started the construction, they realized the building was in not as good of shape as they thought it was, and so now they're requesting for a certificate of appropriateness to demolish the building and rebuild something that has the same style as required by the historic overlay zone. We don't have the plans for that right now, but the building is currently very unsafe, so they would like to have the Historic Preservation Commission approve the certificate of appropriateness just for the demolition.
But did I understand you correctly? They're planning to put another building up there?
That's my understanding. And staff wrote a staff report. We would like to make that part of the record. There's also pictures that are included that we received from the architect with a letter stating that the building is not safe in its current condition. It's a Living Designs Group, and the actual architect is Doug Patterson. And then the contractor also provided the photos that are larger, showing the current condition of the building. And I understand that the commission would like to do a site visit. So it's my understanding that we could actually like take a break, go visit the site, and then come back and, proceed with the approval.
I don't need to visit the site. When I wrote that email, that was meant in general, if you're going to restore site visits for both the P&Z and the historical, because we used to do that as a part of the routine. So it wasn't just directed at this application. I don't have to see.
Yeah.
I think I'm satisfied with what I see in the package as far as that
Okay.
goes. But when they submit the plans for new construction, they have to get certificate of appropriateness for that too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the applicant is here if you need to ask questions.
Hold on just 1 second.
Yeah, but not necessarily today. Huh? But unless you want to.
Have you gone and seen it?
No, I'll drive by all the time, but I'm satisfied with what I see, and the letter from Doc Patterson is fine for me.
Yeah, and I visited the site this morning, or midday. Leif took me through. It looks like it would take quite a bit of money to bring it up to the new occupancy.
Okay, so
I
here's,
mean, as the drawings were presented in terms of changing windows and changing heights and kind of changing the function of it, maybe for a little residence or something, somebody wanted to preserve. It may be still take a lot of work. We have preserved buildings of that nature, or have been that deteriorated. I mean, they've been up for a long time and they can be preserved, but it takes a lot of TLC, and therefore that probably translates to money. That's my feeling about it.
here's the situation. This commission, I think in general, feels that site visits they need to recur again. We used to do them all the time, and we haven't done them in a long time. If this particular time, right now, these two commissioners feel like they don't need to go on one, that's fine with me. But in general, I want to make sure that we follow the procedure that was outlined in the email from Rick Bellis about having the airport van waiting so that we could do site visits.
The airport van is out there waiting.
Yeah, right. But just so it's clear, site visits, I think, if we're going to be making decisions on buildings that have been built, they took the time to build them, and they've been here a while, I think that we shouldn't ignore site visits in general. I think we should, as a rule, do them. We used to do them all the time. So do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
That's one of the suggestions was that we go on our own outside of
My
the legal
understanding.
part in terms of a group forming within what'd you say, 72 hours or something, and the attorney being out of town.
My understanding is.
So I went to see
yeah.
it, and we had approved it, and it's kind of a.
Unless,
I see why they would rather start over.
so
I
unless,
would like to see them on the same footprint and so forth, and adhere to the original plans, and do what they can to give it a similar character. Right, Doug? I mean,
you can
know.
make that a condition. We can make that a condition.
Well,
So just,
Let's
yeah,
give
just
the
so-
applicant a chance to
just so,
speak on
yeah,
this.
just so it's just completely clear moving forward, thank you for getting the airport van. I didn't know.
Oh, that was, yeah, Martha pulled all that stuff together.
Yeah, I didn't know that Commissioner Lucas didn't feel like he needed to go, and I hadn't seen it. So as a general rule, I would
Right,
like to
yeah,
have
we-
that available
Yeah, we
for
were
every
off of,
application.
Rick's email and stuff like that, we now have direction on
Yeah.
how to handle site visits.
Perfect, because unless the town attorney, when he comes back from vacation, has a different ruling than Rick's email, I think that that's pretty clear and we can follow that. And personally, I don't want to do too much work without having a site visit. I don't think you get as good of an idea without having seen it personally. So, let's move forward. And thank you again for getting thank you for getting the van.
We can still take it for a ride.
Yeah, we can go for a ride after. All right, so
The applicant.
would the applicant care to make a presentation? Anybody have anything to say out there?
Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And state your name and address? I guess you don't have to state your
Douglas
address.
Patterson.
Okay.
This is Jeff Chardell, the building owner, and
Hello,
Leif.
welcome.
um, Leif Hauer from Lucas Construction, the building contractor. Um, You know, personally, I don't think that building's safe to be in. I don't think anybody should be in that building. I've seen that building over the course of about 15 years, and that building is moving, and the cracks we see in the walls are opening up, and one recent wall on the interior has recently collapsed. So I feel like if we don't take that building down, I think it's going to come down sooner or later, and when they come down unexpectedly, they don't come down slowly. So I think for the safety of the general public and the safety of the people on the construction side, I think that building should come down sooner than later.
Go ahead, Commissioner Palacios. I know you.
Well, my concern is that if you've seen this building for 15 years and so forth, why you had asked to preserve it only a year ago. And the wall that came down inside, or the portion of wall that came down inside, is from negligence to the roof. And I also find in demolition that you need to be careful. In other words, where the other building joined it, it doesn't look that good, but so I have a little bit of concern that you didn't ask for it initially, Doug.
Our initial intent was to save and restore that building. And after some of the demolition was done and we saw recent movement, I don't feel that that's the right thing to do.
At this time.
After being in there and after seeing the recent movement that took place and the recent wall collapse inside, I changed my mind. So our initial intent was to restore it in place, to renovate that building, because I think, as you do, I think there's real value in the urban fabric of the old buildings that we have, and we should take every opportunity to renovate and restore them. But I think there's also a time when some of these buildings are beyond renovating and restoring, and they're not safe in their current condition. So right now, I think that site would be a better site without that building there, and I think it's a safety issue and a nuisance right now.
Okay, I just do want to point out that, Doug, with all due respect, I just feel that the process, the wall that came down on the inside, that's from the roof leaking. And when you're doing demolition and stuff, I'm not trying to scold. I'm just saying that we approve something with your knowledge, and it takes care. I had a client call me once, a building I wanted to restore was, the walls were falling. I told this one to Leif this morning, and this is, what's wrong with you? You wanted to save this building and it's falling down. And I went there and they had a backhoe taking out the vigas. So the walls came down because nothing holding them up. So I'm not saying that's what you guys did today, but that's a little bit of the dealing with the old fabric. So that wall didn't just come down on its own, it came down because the roof was leaking on it. What you're exposing on the old building is, you just have to be careful when you get close to those old buildings,
I agree.
And the reason that wall started coming down is that there was no extra shoring that the old building was holding up.
It's also, there's no foundation, so we couldn't see the circumstances of the foundation until it was opened up.
Well,
So
it's a rock foundation,
Yeah.
which many of the buildings, all of them have that around here. Some of them don't even have that.
Some of them don't have that. We have,
No,
we have
see-
another one right now in front of Guadalupe Church that has no foundation. I don't know if
Right.
you've seen that one, but that one's coming up too.
Right, so even the building you're in is old, and I don't know how much of the foundation some of that has.
That has a concrete foundation,
On all of it?
all of it.
I'm surprised.
So am I.
But there are plenty that don't. And we've restored them.
Sure.
So I'm not against.
I think there's a time when a building has enough integrity to restore it.
Mhm.
And I think going into this project, we were more hopeful that there was more integrity there to restore. And I think upon seeing the conditions that we have, I think it was a painful realization for us that it's just not a wise decision to put more money into that building when it would cost, it's just not a wise decision. And after I went back in there and did a site inspection, I really believe that that building is unsafe. And I don't think anybody should be in that building or around it.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree a whole lot with you about its present condition. I'm just,
Our preference would have been to save it and restore it. That's what we came to you for permission to do first.
right,
That was our intent,
right.
and that was the intent of the owner, and that was the intent of the contractor. And it was a hard decision for us to come back around the corner and say, that's probably not the right thing to do.
Okay.
In terms of what goes there in the future, I don't think, just in my conversations with the owner, I'm not sure if they want to make the commitment to put that building back right now.
Meaning
They're not sure if they want to rebuild
at all.
at all.
That's probably okay. But if you do, it would need to be in the what we approved, the same footprint that we approved.
If we rebuild, we'll have to
Yeah.
come back to you for another approval.
Do you? I didn't know that. Huh, I thought the intention was to demolish it and move forward.
I think,
Is that okay?
Anytime you build in historical district, you need the certificate of appropriateness to approve the plans, finishes, windows, blah, blah.
our
Right.
intent,
Right, I didn't realize it was a separate issue. I thought that part of what you guys were petitioning to do was to remove at this present state, an unsafe building, and to replace it with something, follow the plan.
I believe our intent right now is to remove it, assess what we would do there, and if we're going to build, come back to you for a new approval.
So then, what will you do with that space?
Right now, I think we would take that building down and just restore it and clean it up, and just leave it as an empty site right now.
Create a garden area.
A garden area, not a parking area or anything, you know?
Appealing.
Okay.
Not a parking area?
No, there's parking is kind of off to the side.
I remember.
Yeah.
All right, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You should, if
You can come up.
It's on public access TV, so you can step up there.
I'm just gonna say one thing.
We've hired it, people.
Please state your name for the record,
Jeff Chardell.
and you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
I do. All I was going to say is, I bought the property less than a year ago, and to your point, as far as the roof coming in, certainly if I'd had it, long time ago, I would have made sure that didn't happen, and unfortunately, it just wasn't the case. And I didn't realize to what extent the roof was unstable when I bought the property.
Okay.
That was it.
I don't doubt that. I'm just trying to be thorough. I mean, I learned that you guys weren't going to replace the building. I was under the misconception there, so it's just part of the procedure. I agree that it needs to come down at this point. I'm just being thorough myself.
Right.
with it.
Any other questions for me?
No, thank you for coming and
Thank you.
and being here and showing concern. We appreciate that.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, commissioners, any further questions?
Well, whenever you deal with an old structure, try to remodel, it's always interesting when you're full of surprises, and it doesn't surprise me that after digging into it, they came to a conclusion. That tearing it down, it makes more sense, and we need to take the applicant's testimony at face value. So I personally would make a motion to approve it. But I'm subject to further discussion here.
No, I'm okay with it.
Okay, then I'll make a motion. Is that okay?
Make the
Madam
motion.
Chair,
It's perfectly fine.
thank you so much. Move to approve HPC 2014-17 based on findings of facts and staff recommendation, and issue certificate of appropriateness for demolition of the building at 2009 Ranchitos Road.
We have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Further discussion? Martha, will you do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Palacios?
You're getting it.
One of these days.
Yes.
Commissioner Spey?
Yes.
Commissioner Lukes?
Yes.
The
I think we
motion
need more
passes 3 to
meetings so
0.
you learn Miss Commissioner Palacios' name.
I don't know. I always hesitate, can you tell? It's like,
That's all right.
Just say Oscar.
I know, that's what I called him before, remember? So the motion passes 3 to 0.
Cool.
Go forth and multiply. Nice seeing you all. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Okay, number 8, matters from the Historic Preservation Commission.
Just a comment on the cover sheet, should list the names of the staff, names of the commissioners, the chair, the vice chair.
On the agenda.
You
On
know,
the agenda?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
On the
and-
letterhead
and
for this
We had the
commission.
same issue, I think, on P&Z.
It should be on there, so, bye, Doug, so that in the future, people would know who made these dastardly votes.
For the agenda, we don't have any, like, on this front page,
Yeah,
these come out of.
it used to be in the
It's
left top corner.
always been on it.
Yeah,
I mean, in the
left top
past.
corner.
Because this comes out of Novus, and so it just kind of, this is what it prints out for us. But I can.
Do you remember I brought it up several
Yes,
times?
the problem is that the vendor of the software actually has to make the change, and I think that the town, I've asked the clerk's office several times to make the change, and I've basically been told,
Oh,
yeah.
Well, it was on, there's an example of it on the Certificate of Appropriateness in the matter of case 2013-6, which was October 23rd, 2013, and it's in our packet, and you can
Right,
see.
those are our staff reports, and so those are our personal letterheads that we create, but the agenda actually
Can you
comes
use
from a
that for the
different.
cover sheet? Your
I
personal
can try
cover-
to figure something
Yeah.
out with that one,
It'd be good to have it
to
accurate.
see if we can do something.
Because I think that it's a matter of public disclosure, again, who the people are.
Yeah. You have it on this sheet right here. It's the same.
right, I know, but we do that in Microsoft Word, and we type that in
Can we
ourselves.
change,
Right, and then
can we
this-
change the
this is a-
Microsoft Word for this one page? It's called the agenda?
This comes out of a different program where they use a template, and that's why we're kind of limited in what.
Well, just let's
We'll
use
get the vendor to-
The items
Yeah,
are
let's just
on the
use the
agenda.
Microsoft Word to create the cover sheet for the agenda.
Oh, we can talk to Renee, the town clerk, about
Mm-hmm.
how to try to get the names on the
Okay.
Novus system.
Thank you. The other thing is all the things that are left straggling and hanging that the commission's talked about doing with you guys. Remember, we were going to have a special workshop before Marika stepped down. I want to make sure that these things keep moving forward, that didn't happen with Bill Morris and didn't happen with Rudy Perea. The different issues that we've been talking about all along, like the murals, and I'm getting a lot of people in the historic district that are asking if they can do murals, and I say not yet, and maybe never, but we need to.
Right, so we are working on having a meeting with the downtown merchants.
Yes, I have that on my
To
list.
get their input on the sign code, and we will put that together.
Right.
All the pieces that we've brought forward to you, including the murals. It's my understanding that the town council will be having a special meeting on Monday, and they will be appointing 2 additional members to the Historic Preservation Commission to ease the burden of making sure that we have a quorum for this meeting. So that is being,
That's fine,
done.
that's not an issue, and we typically do have a quorum for this commission, and that's fine, but what I'm more concerned about are the things that we've talked about, like all the clothing racks outside, and the things that we might want to change the code on so that the plaza doesn't look so trashy as soon as possible. We've talked about it
Right.
last month.
but I would like to solicit the business owners' input and kind of let them know what we're thinking about and get their buy-in before we actually go and we pass that kind of code.
Okay,
We need to get their support.
so let's pick a day right now, and I'll call a meeting of the merchants now that we're sort of past the farmer's market hullabaloo. Would you like to do that?
Yes,
Should we
that'd
pick
be
a meeting
great.
now?
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's do it. calendar. Okay, June 11th. We could either do it Friday the 20th, or they're accustomed to having them on Friday mornings. That's just when they normally meet, so probably good to stick with that if it works for you guys. We could do it on Friday the 20th, or we could do it on, then not until July 11th.
I can't do it on the 20th. I have a prior commitment the whole day in Albuquerque.
Well, that's okay, because you're not a merchant.
Oh, you didn't want me there. Where am I looking
We'd
at the
love you
calendar
there,
for?
but we'd
I'm
love
sorry.
you there. Is it important to have the whole commission there, or do you want to just have the merchants and
I'm fine.
whichever commissioners want to come?
If a commissioner's fine with not appearing, then we're fine.
Okay, that's not a good day for me. I thought,
Okay. I mean,
Once again,
otherwise, I could call one a different day of the week, but it needs to be like 8:30 to 10 in the morning is when they meet. And I could call it a different day than Friday. That's just what they're used to.
Let's do it on a Friday that they're used to at 8:30, so let's do it on the 20th.
Okay. So I'll send that notice out to the merchants, and then I'll carbon you guys on that. And I don't have the mural room calendar with me here right now, and I'm not sure it's available. I think it's available. I presume we'll have that meeting in that mural room in the old county courthouse, but you'll see when I send the notice, if it is not available, do you think we should have it in here or at the training room in town hall? What's comfortable for you if the courthouse isn't available?
Can we have it on the plaza?
We can. We can. The 20th is, June 20th. We could do it on the plaza.
You know, and then if they want to show us something, like what they like and kind of what some of their issues are, then we can
Okay.
actually walk and talk about it
Okay.
so that, you know, we're getting feedback and we're actually seeing some of what they see as their issues with
Okay.
visibility and things like that.
Okay. Then we'll tentatively say the plaza in the gazebo, June 20th at 8:30, from 8:30 to 10, unless it's raining, and then we'll go upstairs.
Okay.
Okay? Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll send that out right away, and then you can let me know if I need to prepare anything special for that, or if you think I already know what I'm going to be saying anyway. But if you need anything special in terms of papers to hand out or anything that I could provide, like even giving the merchants things ahead of time to read or think about, we can talk about that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
It might be good to give them some stuff ahead of time if there's anything complex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And were there any other matters from you? The downtown meeting was the only thing that I had to bring up. Oscar?
no, I'm fine.
You are? Okay. Mr. Cool? Okay, and that's it, I guess. At some point, and I'm not sure how we're going to get this all working, but the murals are coming up a lot. The signs, the tacky open signs are coming up a lot, and the blinking ones, and all that stuff. I don't know if the merchants are probably not so involved with their murals or care so much about that, but they care about their signage and their sandwich boards and all that. So let's have a little meeting before we meet with them to kind of go over what we're going to talk about with them, so that I can give you background or whatever.
That'd be fine, and I'd also like to include Berlinda, who's on staff as our code enforcement
Yeah, that's a
person.
great idea.
Because she has actually gone around and talked with a lot of the store owners about the open signs, about the A-frame signs, and so she has already received some input.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, and then let me know, and I'll come over anytime
Okay.
ahead of time so we can kind of get our ducks in a row together before we go out there. There'll be anywhere from 10 to 50 merchants, depending on how concerned they are about these issues. Also, even though we email them, I'd like you guys to do a flyer if you wouldn't mind, because the merchants on the plaza particularly, there are about 12 of them that don't even do email. And so they are used to getting a flyer announcing a meeting, and it's good to give it to them on, as soon as possible. Certainly by the Monday before the Friday. And we just walk them around and say, hey, meeting coming up, and hand it on their, hand it to them. You don't have to go through a long conversation at all when we're handing out those flyers. They're used to that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Mhm. All right, good.
Move to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn. You, dude.
A second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, let's go. Thank you both very much.